My name is Whitney Bennett, and at 23 years old, parents planned sister's sweet 16 redo while ignoring my 21st birthday. So, I left, never to return. Years later, they admitted I was right all along. I vividly recall the precise moment I realized how little I meant to my parents. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. It was 4 weeks before my 21st birthday, and I had just returned home from my after-school work at the bookstore, eager to plan a little dinner with a few friends. Nothing fancy, just something to commemorate the occasion. My mother was in the kitchen with my younger sister, Chloe, who was 19 at the time. They were searching through party decoration catalogs, which looked like a good omen until I learned they were planning Chloe's Sweet 16, which had occurred 5 months prior. She apparently wanted a redo because the initial party failed to capture her actual personality. I am not even kidding. I wanted to ask you about my birthday next month, Mom. I began setting my backpack down near the counter. She threw me a gaze that might have frozen fire. Whitney, your sister is going through something right now. She's been feeling overlooked lately, and we need to be sensitive to her needs. Chloe didn't even look up from the catalog. She just circled photographs of balloon arches and dessert tables with her pink gel pen. I just want to have dinner with maybe 5 friends, I explained gently. We could go to that Italian place downtown. I've been saving money from work. Absolutely not, my father responded from the doorway. I hadn't even heard him enter. Do you have any idea how that would make your sister feel? She's already struggling with her self-esteem, and watching you celebrate would be devastating for her. He was staring at me. It's my 21st birthday and she's your sister, my mother yelled. Family comes first, Whitney. Always. We've talked about this. When you turn 21, you become an adult, which means you need to start thinking less about yourself and more about how your actions affect others. The logic was so convoluted that I almost laughed. Chloe finally glanced up, wide-eyed and innocent. I'm sorry, Whitney. I know it's not fair to you. I just feel like nobody ever pays attention to me. And if you have this big party, I'll feel invisible again. My mother quickly placed her arms around her. See, she's aware of how difficult this is. That's very mature of you, honey. I exited the kitchen without saying another thing. That night, I lay in bed performing numbers. I had saved $4,972 from working at the bookshop for the previous 3 years. I had been saving money for college, but I had also received a full academic scholarship to State University, which would cover tuition and housing. My birthday happened on a Friday. I turned 21 at 6:23 a.m., the precise moment my mother liked to remind me she was in labor. By midnight, I had devised a strategy. The subsequent 4 weeks were a master class in pretending everything was all right. I went to school, worked my shifts, came home, completed my homework, and made no mention of my birthday. My folks seemed relieved. Chloe returned to organizing her party redo, which had somehow escalated into a weekend getaway to a spa resort that cost more than my car was worth. My car was worth $800 and had a muffler attached with wire hangers. But on the Thursday before my birthday, I began moving stuff out. Initially, it was only minor issues, my laptop, essential documents, and treasured novels. I had rented a storage unit across town for $45 per month and made visits there after work, informing my folks that I had picked up extra shifts. Sophie, my best friend, knew exactly what I was doing. She had offered to let me remain with her family, but I declined. I needed to accomplish this fully on my own to show to myself that I was capable. Friday morning, I awoke at 6:03 a.m. At 6:23, I lay in the solitude of my childhood bedroom, whispering, "Happy birthday to me." No one came into my room. No surprise, no cake, and no card on my desk. I dressed, put the last of my essentials in 2 duffel bags, and proceeded downstairs. My folks were drinking coffee in the kitchen. Chloe was still sleeping. "I'm leaving," I said. My mother looked up. "Okay, have a good day at school." "No," I answered. "I'm leaving, moving out. I'm 21 now, and I'm done." My father's coffee mug came to a halt, halfway to his mouth. "What are you talking about?" "I'm moving out. I've already packed. I found a room to rent near campus, and I start my summer job on Monday." My mother's face shifted between many looks before settling on rage. "You're being ridiculous. You can't just leave because you're having a tantrum about your birthday. I'm not having a tantrum. I'm making a choice. You've made it clear where I stand in this family, and I'm okay with it now. But I don't have to stay here and watch it anymore. Whitney Bennett, if you walk out that door, don't expect us to welcome you back with open arms. My father stood up. His face had turned crimson. I don't expect anything from you anymore. I told you. That's actually really freeing. My mother took a different approach. Honey, you're upset. We understand. Why don't we talk about this? Maybe we can still do something small for your birthday this weekend. I don't want something small this weekend. I wanted to matter 4 weeks ago when I asked. I wanted to matter 19 years ago, or 10 years ago, or literally any time before today. I scooped up my bags. I'll come back for the rest of my stuff when you're not home, Chloe said, standing at the top of the stairs in her pajamas, looking puzzled and drowsy. What's happening? Your sister is being selfish and throwing away her family over a birthday party, my mother stated bitterly. I stared at Chloe for a brief while, felt sorry for her. She'd been conditioned to believe that the world revolved around her feelings, which was going to hurt her someday. But that was not my problem to solve. Bye, Chloe, I said. Then I walked out. The room I had rented was in a house owned by an elderly woman named Mrs. Lee, who rented to college students. It was small, no larger than a closet, yet it was mine. I had a twin bed, a desk, a dresser, and a window overlooking a garden. The rent was $500 per month, including utilities. That first night, I sat in my bed, eating Chinese takeout alone. Mrs. Lee knocked at 8:00 p.m. and gave me a cupcake with a solitary candle. Your landlord application stated your birthday was today, she remarked with a friendly smile. Everyone deserves cake on their birthday. I burst into tears for the first time since leaving. The next few months were difficult in ways I had not anticipated. Working 40 hours per week while attending summer classes was hard. I lived on ramen, peanut butter sandwiches, and the odd free food at university functions. I had no money for anything else. There would be no coffee out, no movies, and no new clothes. However, I also felt lighter than I had in years. My parents called twice within the first month. The chats were quick and awkward. They urged me to apologize and return home. I refused. After that, the call ended. I learned from common contacts that they informed my extended family that I had decided to live independently rather than admit we had a falling out. Chloe messaged me once. Mom and Dad are very hurt. You should apologize. I blocked her number. I poured myself into education and job with an intensity that was perhaps unhealthy. I took extra classes, did freelance graphic design work, and at the end of the summer, I'd landed an internship at a marketing agency downtown. The internship was meant to be unpaid, but my supervisor, Claire Harrison, was so satisfied with my performance that she got the corporation to give me $15 per hour. You have an eye for this? She asked after I had completely overhauled a client's social media strategy. How old are you? 21, I answered. Jesus, I didn't have half this figured out until I was 30. Harrison & Associates' job was tough but rewarding. Claire had a knack of pushing me just beyond of my comfort zone without making me feel inept. She'd assigned me projects that appeared insurmountable at first, then given me just enough advice to figure out my own solutions. My first significant job included rebranding a local coffee chain that was losing customers to corporate competitors. I spent 2 weeks investigating their consumer base, monitoring their social media activity, and devising a plan that highlighted their community roots and artisanal approach. When I presented my ideas to Claire and the customer, my hands shook so terribly that I had to clutch them behind my back. The client adored it. They followed every advice I offered, and within 6 weeks, their foot traffic had increased by 30%. Claire summoned me to her office the day the numbers arrived. You just earned this company a long-term contract, she explained, pushing an envelope across her desk. That's a bonus check. You deserve it. I opened the envelope. $600. I have never held so much money at once in my life. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me. You earned it. Now get back to work. I have 3 more clients who need your magic touch. The bonus was deposited directly into my savings account, but the validation meant more than just money. Someone thought I was good at something. Someone found value in my job beyond simply showing up and performing what was asked. By October, Claire had offered me a part-time work that would last the entire school year. The offer included a pay of $25 per hour, which was more than I had ever envisioned earning while still in school. I accepted right away, then went home and cried in my small apartment. Since everything was finally working out, the work required altering my entire schedule. I began taking morning classes so that I could work afternoons and evenings at the firm. My weeks became a whirl of courses, client meetings, design work, and late-night study sessions. I survived on coffee and resolve, sleeping perhaps 5 hours every night if I was lucky, Mrs. Lee observed. She began placing containers of homemade soup outside my door with comments such as, "Eat something other than noodles," and "You look too thin." Her modest kindnesses kept me going on days when I felt like I was about to collapse from tiredness. There were times when I questioned whether I'd made a mistake leaving home. Not because I missed my parents, but because I was constantly weary and couldn't remember the last time I did something just for fun. But then I'd stroll past my old house on my way to campus and see Chloe's car in the driveway, complete with a personalized license plate that my parents had purchased for her, and I'd remember why I left. In November, I came upon one of Chloe's pals at a campus coffee shop. Jessica Parker had been a regular visitor to our house throughout high school, and she knew me right away. "Whitney, oh my God, how are you?" She gripped me before I could back away. "Your mom said you moved out for school. That's so cool that you're living independently." So that's the story they went with. Clean and straightforward. "Yeah, I'm doing well," I replied, keeping my tone calm. "Chloe really misses you. She talks about you all the time. Says she wishes you'd come home for Thanksgiving." "I have other plans." Jessica's smile faded slightly. "Oh, well, she'll be sad to hear that. Your parents are throwing her this huge Thanksgiving celebration. They rented out that fancy restaurant on 5th Street. The whole family is coming." Of course they were. Another party for Chloe. Another opportunity to shower her with attention and gifts while pretending I didn't exist. "Sounds nice," I replied bluntly. "You should come. I'm sure they'd love to see you." "I doubt that. I need to go, Jessica. Good seeing you." I left before she could say anything else, my chest tight with old rage. I believed I'd passed it. The encounter stuck with me for days. I kept picturing my family assembled around an enormous Thanksgiving spread. Everyone was smiling and cheerful, and no one was worrying where I was or whether I was okay. Ethan saw my mood change. We'd been dating for about a month at that point, and I'd been careful not to bring up all of my family turmoil with him too quickly. But one night, when we had finished studying at the library, he asked me bluntly, "What's going on with you? You've been somewhere else all week." I told him everything about my parents, Chloe, and the birthday that ruined everything. He listened without interruption, his visage darkening as the story progressed. "That's messed up," he murmured as I concluded. Like, seriously messed up. "It is what it is." "No, Whitney, it's not normal. You know that, right? Parents aren't supposed to pick favorites like that." "I know." "Do you know? Because you're talking about it like it's just some quirk of your family dynamic, but it's actual emotional neglect." Hearing him say it so directly made something inside me crack open. I guess I never considered it that way. I just wondered if I wasn't trying hard enough to be what they wanted. That's exactly what victims of neglect think. It's not your fault. None of it was ever your fault. We sat in his car in the library parking lot, and I cried harder than I had for months. He held my hand and did not attempt to cure anything. Just let me feel whatever I needed to feel. "You're coming to Ohio with me for Thanksgiving," he added once I'd calmed down. "My mom will feed you until you can't move, and my dad will bore you with stories about his model train collection. It's non-negotiable." "I don't want to intrude." "You're not intruding. You're a family now. That's how it works in functional families. We actually want to include people." Traveling to Ohio for Thanksgiving was the best decision I had made in months. Ethan's parents, James and Sarah, treated me as if I had always been a part of their lives. Sarah taught me her grandmother's sweet potato casserole recipe. James took me through his complex model train setup in the basement, telling the history of each miniature building and figure with genuine excitement. "Our son really likes you," Sarah informed me as we were doing the dishes after supper. "He talks about you constantly, your work ethic, your kindness, your strength." "He's pretty great too," I added, feeling my cheeks flush. "He told us a bit about your situation with your family." "I hope you don't mind." I tensed slightly. "Oh, I just want you to know that you're always welcome here. Holidays, random weekends, whenever. Our door is open." She placed a warm touch on my shoulders. "Every young person deserves to have adults in their corner. If your parents won't be that for you, we will." I had to excuse myself to the restroom so that I could cry privately. These individuals scarcely knew me, but they were more supportive than my own family ever was. By December, I'd been promoted to junior designer, earning enough money to move into a nicer apartment and buy groceries without first checking my bank account. The new house was a one-bedroom in a safer neighborhood with proper insulation and a kitchen with more than 2 functional burners. I felt wealthy. During my first semester, I made the dean's list. I joined a design collective on campus. I began seeing a man named Ethan from my economics class, who made me laugh and never made me feel like I had to shrink myself. I created a completely self-contained existence. Sophie inquired around Thanksgiving about my plans to return home for the holidays. "That's not my home anymore," I stated simply. She did not push. I spent Thanksgiving with Mrs. Lee's family and Christmas with Ethan and his folks in Ohio. I spent New Year's Eve at a party with my design collective pals, watching fireworks from a rooftop and feeling like I'd finally figured out who I was meant to be. My 21st birthday had come and gone. Ethan brought me to dinner. My buddies gave me a surprise party. Claire awarded me a bonus and said I was on track to become a senior designer by the time I graduated. Everything was excellent. Then March happened. I was at a networking event downtown, which I used to find scary but could now easily navigate. I had just completed speaking with a potential client about their rebranding when I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Whitney." I glanced around, and there was Chloe. She appeared different, older, but also tired. Her hair was in a messy ponytail, and she wore pants and a State University sweater. She held a tray of sad-looking cheese cubes. "Chloe," I said neutrally. "I almost didn't recognize you," she remarked, scanning me up and down. I was dressed in a blazer and heels, clutching the leather portfolio Claire had bought me for Christmas. "You look so professional." "I'm here for work," I explained. "I work at Harrison and Associates." Her eyes expanded. "The marketing firm? That huge company downtown?" "It's mid-sized, but yeah." "But you're still in school." "Part-time position. I'm a junior designer." Her expression changed. "Wow, that's great, Whitney." An uneasy pause stretched between us. "Are you here for school?" I said, out of politeness rather than true interest. "Yeah, I'm a freshman at State. I'm here because my communication professor made us come to get extra credit. I'm kind of failing his class," she joked, but it sounded fake. "College is way harder than I thought it would be." "It takes adjustment," I responded gently. "How did you do it?" The inquiry sounded urgent. Like, how did you just leave and figure everything out? "Mom and Dad said you'd come crawling back within a month, but then you never did. And now you're here looking like some kind of boss woman, and I'm eating free cheese because I can't afford real dinner." I felt a twist in my chest. Not quite sympathy, not quite satisfaction. I worked really hard. I didn't have a choice. "Because of your birthday thing?" My jaw constricted. "It wasn't a thing, Chloe. It was the final example in a very long pattern." She looked down at her cheese plate. "I know they weren't always fair to you." "Do you?" "I'm starting to get it now," she remarked gently. "College is kicking my ass, and when I call home stressed about exams or whatever, Mom just tells me I'm being dramatic. Dad says I need to toughen up. It's like, now that I'm not their special little girl living at home, they don't care as much." I should have felt justified. Instead, I felt hollow. "I'm sorry you're going through that," I said sincerely, "but I need to get back to networking." "Wait, can we maybe get coffee sometime? I'd really like to talk more. I miss you." "I don't think that's a good idea." "Please, Whitney, I know I was awful. I know I took advantage of how Mom and Dad treated you. I'm trying to be better." I gazed at her intently. She appeared sincere, but I had been burned before. "Give me your number," I finally said. "I'll think about it." She eagerly pulled out her phone and we swapped numbers. After she left, I was instantly conflicted about the decision. I did not text her. 2 weeks later, I received a phone call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I responded. "Is this Whitney Bennett?" I didn't recognize the woman's voice. "Yes." "This is Rachel Thompson. I'm your sister Chloe's academic advisor at State University. She listed you as an emergency contact." My stomach sank. "Is she okay?" "She's fine physically, but she's in some academic trouble, and I'm calling because she specifically asked me to reach out to you. She's at risk of failing 3 of her 5 classes this semester, and she's missed multiple advising appointments. When I finally got her to come in today, she broke down crying and said the only person who might understand is her sister. I closed my eyes. I don't know how I can help. She seems to think you could talk to her parents on her behalf. Apparently, there's some family dynamic I'm not privy to, but she's in crisis, and I'm trying to help her access her support systems. Family support systems. The irony was almost humorous. Tell her I'll meet her for coffee tomorrow, I finished. The next day, Chloe and I met at a cafe near campus. She looked worse than she did at the networking event, dark bags beneath her eyes, damaged nail paint, and the same sweater. Thank you for coming, she remarked as I sat down. Your advisor called me. She's worried about you. I'm drowning, Whitney. I don't know what to do. Her voice cracked. All my life, everything came easy because Mom and Dad smoothed out every problem. They talked to my teachers when my grades weren't good enough. They made excuses when I didn't make the volleyball team. They threw me parties and told me I was special and perfect. And then I got to college, and none of that mattered. I'm just another student who can't keep up, and I don't know how to fix things on my own. Why are you telling me this? Because you figured it out. You learned how to survive without them. I need to know how. I took a breath. I worked it out because I needed to, because there were no safety nets. I worked 2 jobs and took a full school load. I ate ramen for several months. I've wept myself to sleep more than I can count. It was not an uplifting quest of self-discovery. It was about survival. I want to survive too. I just don't know where to start. We talked for 2 hours. I assisted her in devising a plan, tutoring sessions, office hours with instructors, a revamped study regimen, and eliminating 1 class to reduce her workload. I provided her the number of my freshman year academic advisor who had helped me negotiate the system. What about Mom and Dad? She inquired as we departed. Should I tell them how bad things are? Do you think they'd help? She considered it. Probably not. They'd probably just say I'm being too sensitive or not trying hard enough. Then you have your answer. Something shifted between us after that. We began meeting for coffee weekly. I helped her with time management and study techniques. She slowly improved her grades. We didn't discuss much about our parents or the past, which suited me well. The spring semester offered fresh difficulties and opportunities. I'd been working on increasingly sophisticated projects at work, and Claire began inviting me to client meetings as a full participant rather than an observer. I learned how to read a room, how to successfully offer ideas, and how to accept criticism without taking it personally. Richard Bronson, a real estate developer, was a particularly demanding customer who rejected every proposal I gave for 3 weeks in a row. Claire watched me try to remain professional as he trashed my efforts with hardly hidden disgust. Why does he hate everything? I asked her after another grueling meeting. He doesn't hate your work. He hates that you're young and talented, and he's intimidated by that. Keep pushing. Make him see what I see. The next week, I prepared a presentation that anticipated and addressed each of his objections. I walked him through market research, competitor analysis, and predicted ROI in such depth that he had nothing to critique. Fine, he finally responded. Let's go ahead with this. Claire gave me a high five in the conference room after he had departed. That's how you handle difficult clients. You just outwork his bad attitude. The triumph felt wonderful, but it also highlighted how much I had changed in less than a year. The girl who had left home, scarcely able to advocate for herself, had grown into someone capable of standing up to men twice her age in professional situations. Around April, my scholarship advisor called me in for a meeting. I believed it was just a usual check-in until I sat down and noticed the look on her face. Whitney, I wanted to let you know that you've been selected for the presidential scholarship for next year. It's a full ride plus a stipend for living expenses. I stared at her. What? Your GPA, your work portfolio, your letters of recommendation from professors and your employer, everything was exceptional. You're one of only 5 students chosen from the entire university. The stipend was $15,000 per year. Combined with my salary from Harrison and Associates, I'd be financially secure for the first time in my life. There would be no more concerns about paying the rent, no more having to choose between buying textbooks and eating well. Thank you, I said, my voice full of emotion. You earned this, Whitney, every bit of it. I contacted Ethan right after leaving her office. He picked up on the second ring. I got the presidential scholarship. What? That's incredible. I'm coming to get you. We're celebrating. He took me to supper at the Italian restaurant I had planned to visit for my 21st birthday. The irony was not lost on either of us. "To the girl who saved herself," Ethan remarked, raising his glass of sparkling cider. "To not giving up," I said. We clinked glasses, and I felt something settle within me. I was going to be fine. Better than okay. I was going to thrive. My parents eventually learned about the scholarship. I do not know who told them. Perhaps Jessica, perhaps another mutual connection from high school. In early May, my mother called from a number I did not recognize. "Whitney, we heard about your scholarship. That's wonderful news." Her voice seemed strained and fake. I could hear the effort she made to sound delighted. "Thanks," I answered cautiously. "We'd love to take you out to celebrate. A family dinner, just like we used to do." Like we used to do. The rewriting of history was stunning. We'd never had a family supper to celebrate my achievements. Those had always been designated for Chloe's triumphs, whether genuine or imagined. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Whitney, please, it's been almost a year. Don't you think it's time we move past this?" "Move past what exactly? You haven't apologized. You haven't acknowledged what you did wrong. You just want to pretend nothing happened. We were doing our best as parents. We made choices we thought were right at the time. Can't you give us credit for trying?" "No," I answered simply. "I can't. Because trying would have meant listening when I told you how your choices affected me. Trying would have meant treating both your daughters with equal consideration. You didn't try. You chose." She was silent for a long time. "Your sister misses you." "Then she can call me herself. Goodbye, Mom." I hung up and also blocked that number. 2 days later, Chloe called, but it wasn't what I was expecting. She was crying so hard that I couldn't understand her. "Chloe, what's wrong?" "I messed up, Whitney. I messed up so bad." "What happened?" "I got arrested last night." "What?" "I wasn't hurt, and nobody else was hurt, but I blew a 0.9, and they took me to jail. And Mom and Dad had to come get me, and they're so disappointed, and I don't know what to do." My stomach sank. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Scared, but fine. The court date is in 4 weeks. Mom and Dad are saying this is all because I've been under too much stress from school. Like, it's not my fault. But Whitney, it is my fault. I chose to drink. I chose to drive. I could have killed someone." This was different. This was not her making excuses or shifting blame. This was true accountability. "What do you need from me?" I inquired. "I don't know. I just needed to hear your voice. Mom and Dad are trying to hire some expensive lawyer to make this go away. And I keep thinking about how you had to figure everything out on your own with no help. And here I am still letting them solve my problems." "Chloe, you should have a lawyer. This is serious." "I know, but I don't want them to make it disappear. I want to face the consequences. I want to actually learn from this instead of having it swept under the rug like everything else." We spoke for more than an hour. I helped her understand what it meant to take responsibility and how to tackle the matter maturely. By the end of the call, she appeared more stable. "Can I see you soon?" she inquired. "Like in person?" "Yeah, coffee this weekend, please." When we met that Saturday, Chloe appeared different, more serious, more grounded. She told me that against our parents' protests, she insisted on taking a plea deal that included community service and alcohol education seminars. "Mom and Dad are furious with me," she said. "They think I'm ruining my future by not fighting the charges. But you know what? I'd be ruining my future by not learning from this." "I'm proud of you," I remarked, and I mean it. "Really?" "Yeah, what you're doing takes real courage. It's easier to let someone else fix your problems." "I'm starting to understand why you left. Not completely, but more than I did before. I'm starting to see how they made me weak by never letting me struggle." We discussed her education, the volunteer work she'd begun at a crisis center, and how she was attempting to reconstruct her life on her own terms. She was actually changing, and it was like witnessing someone wake up after a lengthy sleep. When June rolled along, everything exploded. I was in my apartment when my phone rang. My mother. I nearly didn't respond, but curiosity got the best of me. "Whitney, we need to talk about your sister." "Hello to you too, Mom." She ignored it. "Chloe told us she's been meeting with you regularly. She said you've been helping her with school. She asked for help. I provided it." "Well, she's been saying some very concerning things lately. She told your father and me that she feels like we coddled her and that she wishes she'd been raised more like you were." I nearly laughed. "And that's concerning to you because you're putting ideas in her head, Whitney. You're making her think that the way we parented was somehow wrong, and that's completely inappropriate. I haven't made her think anything. She came to her own conclusions based on her experiences. She was fine until she started spending time with you again. You're poisoning her against us because you're still bitter about your birthday situation." The laugh eventually came out. "My birthday situation? Is that what we're calling it? You're twisting things. We were trying to be fair to both of our daughters. No, you were catering to one daughter at the expense of the other. There's a difference. How dare you? I'm going to stop you right there, I interjected. I'm not doing this. I helped Chloe because she asked for help, not because I have some vendetta against you. If she's questioning your parenting, maybe that's something you should examine instead of blaming me. You've always been ungrateful, and you've always been blind to your own favoritism. I hung up. 1 hour later, Chloe called. Mom and Dad are freaking out, she explained. They're saying you're trying to turn me against them. Are they wrong? I don't know anymore. She sounded fatigued. They want to have a family dinner, all of us. They want to clear the air and move forward. My instinct screamed, no, I'm not interested. Please, Whitney, I need you there. I don't think I can face them alone, and I have things I need to say. Chloe, I don't think this is a good idea. I'm going to tell them how I feel either way, but it would be easier with you there, please. Despite my better judgment, I agreed. The event took place at an expensive restaurant downtown. I purposefully came 15 minutes late, and they had already taken their seats. My parents seemed older than I remembered. My father's hair had become grayer. My mother had fresh lines around her mouth. Chloe seemed afraid. Whitney, thank you for coming, my father remarked stiffly as I took my seat. Let's just get to it, I said. What is this about? My mother folded her hands on the table. We're here because our family has been fractured for over a year now, and it's time to heal. We're willing to move past your birthday tantrum if you're willing to apologize and acknowledge your part in this rift. I stared at her. My part? You left without giving us a chance to explain our position. You cut off contact. You refused to come home for holidays. Those were choices you made. After you chose to prioritize Chloe's feelings over my entire existence, I responded with a smile. We were trying to be sensitive to your sister's needs. Chloe spoke up, her voice cracking. You forbade her from celebrating her adulthood. Stop talking about me like I'm not here. Everyone turned to face her. I'm the reason this dinner is happening, she explained, because I have things I need to say to all of you. My mother reached over and patted her hand. Honey, you don't need to. Yes, I do. Chloe drew her hand back. I need to say that Whitney was right about everything. You did favor me. You did coddle me. You made her feel invisible so I could feel special, and that was wrong. My father's face darkened. Chloe, your sister is twisting. No, she's not. I'm 18 now, almost 19. I'm old enough to see what happened. Every time Whitney accomplished something, you downplayed it. Every time I failed at something, you made excuses. You threw me a second Sweet 16 party because I was feeling insecure, but you wouldn't let Whitney have a simple dinner for her 21st birthday. How is that fair? We were going through a difficult time, my mother explained defensively. I was being a brat, Chloe said, her voice rising, and you enabled it instead of parenting me. Do you know how unprepared I was for college, for real life? I almost failed out my first year because I had no idea how to function without you solving all my problems. We were protecting you, my father insisted. From what? Reality? Chloe demanded. Meanwhile, Whitney learned how to actually survive because you gave her no choice. Chloe turned to me with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for being part of why you had to leave, for being spoiled and self-centered and not standing up for you when I should have. I felt my throat tighten. Thank you. My mother stared between us, her countenance changing to something terrible. I cannot believe I'm hearing this. After everything we've done for you, Chloe, the opportunities we've given you, the sacrifices we've made. You mean the opportunities and sacrifices you gave to her while giving me nothing? I questioned in a whisper. You've done perfectly fine on your own, haven't you? My mother snapped. You have your fancy job and your apartment and your perfect life. Maybe we knew you were strong enough to handle things without our support. That's not parenting, I said. That's abandonment with extra steps. How dare you? She's right, Chloe said. That's exactly what it was. You abandoned Whitney emotionally long before she left physically. And now you're mad because she succeeded anyway, and I'm finally seeing you clearly. My father rose abruptly. I don't have to sit here and listen to this disrespect. Then leave, I replied simply. We're all adults here. You can leave anytime you want. He stared at me, obviously expecting me to back down. When I didn't, he tossed his napkin on the table and walked away. My mother paused, glancing between Chloe and me. You're making a mistake, she said. Chloe, siding with her will only hurt you in the long run. The only mistake I made was taking so long to see the truth, Chloe informed her. My mother grabbed her pocketbook and followed my father outside. Chloe and I sat silently for a moment. Well, she concluded, that went about as well as expected. Are you okay? No, but I will be. She dried her eyes. Thanks for coming. I know you didn't want to. I'm glad I did. We ordered dinner for just the two of us and discussed everything but our parents. She told me about a boy she was seeing, about changing her major to psychology, and about the volunteer work she had begun at an adolescent crisis center. I informed her about my promotion, Ethan's proposal last week, and the idea of starting my own design firm after graduation. You're getting married? She seemed really pleased for me. Eventually, we're thinking a long engagement. Will you invite Mom and Dad? I pondered it. Probably not. They've made it clear what they think of my choices. Fair. Around 10 o'clock, we left the restaurant and stood outside in the mild evening air. What happens now? Chloe inquired. I don't know. We figure it out as we go, I guess. Can we keep meeting for coffee? I'd like that. She hugged me, and I hugged her back. Something that had been broken for a long time felt like it was finally healing. 3 months later, I received a text from my mother. Just a single line. Your father and I would want to talk. I presented it to Ethan, who was preparing dinner at our new flat. What do you want to do? He inquired. Nothing, I replied, dismissing the message. I want to do absolutely nothing. Good. I texted Chloe instead. Coffee tomorrow? She reacted instantaneously, already present in spirit. My 21st birthday was everything my 18th should have been. The 22nd was even better. Ethan, Chloe, Sophie, and my design collective buddies leased out a tiny venue and threw me a celebration that felt like I was surrounded by people who knew I existed. Claire made a toast on how proud she was of everything I had accomplished. Ethan kissed me under the string lights. Chloe hugged me and said, "Happy birthday, sis." Later, while sitting on our apartment balcony with Ethan and admiring the city lights, I reflected on the girl I was 2 years earlier, the one who had packed her bags and gone off with no safety net or backup plan, only determination and spite. Are you okay? Ethan asked, bringing me closer. Yeah, I responded, meaning it. I really am. My phone vibrated. Another text from my mother. We are willing to reconcile if you are mature enough to handle this scenario. I nearly laughed at the phrasing. Instead, I blocked the number and turned off the phone. The night and air was soft, the lights below warm and steady, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel invisible.